Gilbert Garcia is a columnist for the San Antonio Express News. Ed Arnold, managing editor of the San Antonio Business Journal. Thank you for joining us on The Conversation Continues. Some drama at the state capitol, Gilbert, this week, as it turns out that the Speaker of the House, Republican Dennis Bonnen, has been working with a lobbyist, a right-wing lobbyist named Michael Quinn Sullivan, against his fellow Republicans. Right. Talk a little bit about how that's shaking out in Bexar County and what that's going to mean for the parties as we move forward.
Well, what we learned this week we actually heard a recording that we'd heard about for a couple of months. Dennis Bonnen met with Michael Quinn Sullivan of Empower Texans, which is a very staunch conservative group. They've actually kind of been a thorn in the side to some Republicans because, you know, like Lyle Larson, for instance, and Will Hurd and people like that, who they've targeted for not being conservative enough. Dennis Bonnen met with them, I think, basically to kind of try to make peace with them after the legislative session, offered up 10 Republicans that he said, you know, if you want to challenge, if you want to primary them or help me, we can go after them. But he also, in this recording, Michael Quinn Sullivan secretly recorded him, and now we got to hear one of the things he said that I think alarmed some local officials was that he bragged about the idea that he wanted the 2019 legislative session to be the worst session ever for cities and counties. And I think this was recorded confirmation of what we've kind of suspected for a while, which is that the people who, you know, in the powerful positions in the legislature have been really hostile to municipal government for a while.
And obviously the legislature is staunchly Republican and has been for some time. And the big urban counties and cities are the only bastions of liberalism there are in the state. You look at the map and it's spots of blue in Bexar County and Austin and Dallas and Houston. Right. So it's not surprising that the Republican legislature would not like the cities.
That's true. What's fascinating about this is that, I mean, I think one of the tenets of conservative thought has always been the closer your government is to you, the better. That government functions best when it's closest to the people. So that would mean that state government works better than federal government, and cities better than state. But as you said, because of the politics of the state, where the state is run by Republicans, we tend to have progressives running the local governments. This is the conflict we have. Cities have been passing ordinances, and the state has been trying to nullify them.
And Ed, here in San Antonio, obviously, we have the mandatory sick leave ordinance, which the legislature doesn't like, and several other things. How is this dichotomy affecting business in the state? It's
significant because you have seen several municipal governments set forth some new legislation, well, not legislation, but passing ordinances, which chambers of commerce have come out and felt are hostile to them in general. We've certainly heard that from our readership. But at the same time, when you get into the minutia of what some of those ordinances are, many businesses would already be in compliance anyway. And so what we seem to be seeing is arguments that are taking place past each other. We're not actually seeing arguments about the substance of paid sick leave. We're seeing argument about whether or not that is anti-business, not necessarily how many businesses it would actually impact. So it's frustrating because a lot of times you, as a reporter, I'm sure you feel this way too, you want to get into what the details are. You want to talk about how this will actually impact people. And what you often end up with is a discussion, I jokingly refer to it as the way 8th grade plays go, where they're delivering their lines above your head by 3 or 4 feet, and talking past each other, because I think there are a lot of small businesses that would be impacted by the paid sick leave. But there's ways that can be arranged in the ordinances.
Well, there's one thing that's interesting is the legislature had the opportunity to scuttle paid sick leave in the 2019 session, and it declined to do it. It seems like we're dealing with one of those situations where maybe the two parts of government are countering themselves out, and that might be good for business.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes inaction is what businesses would rather see. Sometimes you're happier with the devil you know than the devil you don't, and inaction can often be something that businesses are happy to have because it means no new rules.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Right.
Ed Arnold is managing editor of the San Antonio Business Journal. Gilbert Garcia, columnist for the San Antonio Express News. Thank you both for joining us today on The Conversation Continues.